Hello, everyone. First of all, welcome to this second stream related to our sources, basically the Phaze101 sources. Basically, I go through some of the sources that we did. They are simple sources, but you can learn from, including myself, because I forgot many things that I did. And basically, I try to follow what myself did 30 years ago on the Amiga. So in a way, it's quite challenging for me to understand myself of what I did 30 years ago, um, given that my level of expertise on the Amiga 30 years ago was a lot better than it is today. So yeah, that's the main reason why I'm doing this. Those that are on Facebook, because I see that there are quite a bit on Facebook, please note that for better experience, it's better to be on Twitch. But if you prefer staying on Facebook, it's fine. I mean, if I share links, etc., they will not be echoed on Facebook. It's because of the way Facebook works with Twitch. So yeah, I'm trying to. Um, Hello, Antonio Delia. Um, yeah, I could guess, Antonio, that you are from Italy. But thanks for joining the stream. And um, yeah, if you like what you see, I would appreciate for anyone to follow me on Twitch, not just on Facebook, because as I said, Facebook is an issue when it comes to, let's say, sharing things. And I mean, I know that my user base is on Facebook, so this is why I'm sharing it on Facebook. But to be fair, you're better off being on Twitch. I'm just checking that everything is okay and that you can see my screen. Right now I'm showing the Amiga screen, my Amiga with the assembler. Um, this series is only done in English. It's not done in Italian. Only the book of Fabio Ciucci I am doing in Italian. I mean, it's a bit impossible to do this also in Italian, to be fair. Um, However, I felt that I have to do the book also in Italian because, it was written by an Italian and I should give back to the Italian community. Before I begin the usual uh, hellos, okay, I have to say hello for all the people that I learn from. That is Shalan and Old School Coder. And also, I'd like to, of course, thank Fabrizio Ciucci, even though this is not his stream related to his book, but I still need to, I mean, I still feel I should thank Fabrizio for giving me such an opportunity. Also, I say hello to all my friends at Retro Programmers Inside on Facebook, all the members of Phaze101, and all those in the group, Facebook group of Phaze101, and also the other group by Phaze101, which is the Commodore Dev group on Facebook. If you like what you see, subscribe to Twitch or to YouTube, which these streams will be on YouTube eventually. Some time needs to pass because I need to edit them and they take a lot of time. So yeah. Um, and also for those that are in the Patron program, they get access to them earlier than anyone else. Um, Please follow us on Twitter or Instagram, join our Facebook groups or Discord, and like our Facebook page. Um, um, the main thing, I mean, on Twitch, these videos are there for a short period of time, then Twitch deletes them. So this is why also I send them to I do them on eventually on YouTube. So if you miss one of these series, you can catch them. Oh, hello, Henrik. Oh my God. Now I feel. Thank you, Henrik. But I'm not up to your level. I'm still a beginner in a way. But thank you very much. Basically, I'm going through my own sources that I did 30 years ago. Some of them are basic. It's just so that let's say others like me can get in touch. I know for what I use them. For example, the source that I'm going to see is just a copy list, but I know for which demo I had used it, and it was the initial test. So yeah, it's a funny feeling seeing the code of the initial test. But thank you very much for your comments. Yeah, uh, I feel yeah, I feel overwhelmed right now. um, okay, so let's start. The first thing, I have this source. It's a very simple source. It's nothing complex, trust me. I can show you the source. Okay, so there's just some little things. Some code. At that time, I only cared about the A500 and that the code ran on the A500. So some of this code is, let's say, made to assemble only on an A500 because or an A500 with an expansion of 1 MB of RAM. Ciao, Emanuele. So it's not the best code that how I would write it today, but of course I will change it to be optimized for any Amiga, and we will go through it bit by bit. So that's basically it. There's the copy list, there's the initial thing, and then the wait for mouse and then close again. So nothing special. However, when I assemble this code, okay, I hope it doesn't crash. As I said, this code was written for the A500 in mind. You see nothing on the screen, okay? Nothing happens. And there's a particular reason which I really didn't think back then, 30 years ago. I just wouldn't think about it. However, it's very easy. So for those that do not know, the Amiga 500 had only chip RAM, right? So anything that you wrote on the A500 and you assembled would run because the copper needs to be in chip memory, but since everything was chip memory, 512K, it would not have any issues. So this is why we are not seeing anywhere. The code is loading somewhere not in chip memory, and also the copy list is not in chip memory where it should be. So the first thing that we need to do is please know that I'm using Asim Pro. I chose somewhere in between. Instead of I didn't go for Asim 1 and I didn't go for DefPack. I used to use DefPack back in the old days. I used Sika, then I jumped into DefPack. Actually master Sika, to be honest. But there was Asim 1 that at that time I didn't have. So I never had Asim 1 as an assembler. However, I know that Asim Pro is a descendant of Asim 1, and the only thing is that there is highlights. So for people, highlighting of the the instructions or the comments, etc. So that's why I went for it, and also because I believe it has less bugs than any of the others. I could have used DevPack, but I know that most of my sources are not really compatible with DevPack. They are more compatible with Sika, and The reason why I chose Asim Pro also because I know that it's basically compatible with Sika to a certain extent. I do not want to use the Sika assembler, it was quite crude. So Asim 1 or Asim Pro is quite an improvement over the Sika assembler. Anyway, so the first thing that we should do is have section, okay, and so this is an assembler directive, okay. Just name the section whatever we want. P101, this is code, comma, and then we say where the code is going to be. So you say code underscore and p public. So public means if there is fast RAM, load the code in fast RAM. If there is no fast, I mean, if basically to choose whichever the assembler will choose which memory it fits, or the OS, let's put it this way, which best fits. However, we need to force the copy list to be in chip RAM. So we need to do section, okay, P101 data, okay, comma, and then we say data underscore C. So data is because we are saying it's data, it's not code, and C means chip mem. Okay, so now if I assemble this, hopefully, there you go. That's my simple copy list that I did. Nothing special, and that's all what it is. I know for what I used it. Basically, I did a boot loader where it said before it loads, it said the words Phaze101, and I had this copper cycling basically. And every time you insert the disk, basically you see this message. The good thing about this, let's say, boot code that I had written is that the text was just I didn't have any characters, etc. It was just formed from binary, and then I expanded it into to form big letters. I remember this particular thing that I did, but yeah, it's this is only part of it. Of the code. So now we can start going through the code and see what I have done. To be fair, I'm not surprised if there are some stupid things. Let's put it this way, because at the time, as long as it worked, I didn't care. While now I'm more, let's say, conscious of how to code thing. So first of all, I need to. I'm obsessed with commenting things, so I'm going to comment this. So this code was definitely original by me. Original code. And I'm going to say it's going to be updated. Okay, so, and what it does is just displays a copy list. Displays. So it's quite simple, but for those that do not know how to create a copy list, this is the perfect example for creating such a thing. I'm realizing I started working on Asim Pro, but I will change to, let me update it. Okay, I will change to Visual Code. It should have updated. Yeah, there you go. I hope you can still see you see that this directory is all to create the demo that I said, or small demo that I have. So these were all tests that I did, initial tests, let's put it this way, till I got what I wanted to do. Um, so yeah, uh, we won't have time to go through all these, but I just took one of them, and I'm just going to make the text also a bit bigger so that you guys can see it. Um, this is, yeah. So hopefully like that you can see it better. Um, I am I am checking from time to time because this is the setup for this stream. I didn't really even though it's the second one, I didn't really test it like the other one, like the one of the book. Um, so yeah, um, I just need to test that all is fine, because unless I mean, I know you will tell me, but I try to catch things as let's say as much as early as possible before you lose parts of the stream or something like that. So here we just defined the section, as I said, and this is the code. So now the first one is getting the exec base, okay? So this we are just loading the exec base into a 6. Exec base is always address 4, and that is fixed on the Amiga. It's the only fixed address that there is on the Amiga. And for those that followed stream number 1 of this series, I mean, I already covered it, but I'm just repeating it now. This is where it becomes interesting. So I'm going to bring my, let's say, my notes. Where is it? Not notes, my, you should still be able to see this. Yeah, perfect. At least my screen is telling me that you're still seeing this. So basically, here we have a call to the exec base. So we're calling an exec library, and we're calling -198. So if we look at exec, so first of all, I need to show you from where I'm getting all this. Um, and I'm going to paste the link. It's the famous where the Amiga books, Amiga development books are, and you will need these all the time. Okay. I'm using the includes and autodocs, okay, to go to where I need. So I click on the include autodocs, and then I need to find, I believe it's in the references. Let's see. And yes, function offsets. Okay, so now these are all the library offsets for the Amiga, and each one of them is like this one: ASL, battery and clock, battery memory, CIA, and all this stuff. So we need to find the exact one. So Control F, exec, and these are all the libraries for exec. The exec has quite a number of libraries. A number of, it's just a library, and it has lots of routines in it, sorry. So we need to find -198, and probably this is open library. I'm just guessing here, but 198. Yes, old open library, as you can see here. So yeah, the screen now finished because I'm typing here now. So maybe it's better if I do this, and like that I have, you can see them both. Okay, so that's what it means. So what it needs, the old library, okay, which has this, it was 19, what have I done? Why it is 78 now? No, that is 78. So I skipped one. Yeah, thanks, Henrik. Yeah, I use them all the time now. 78. Ah, is disabled, is actually disabled. That's what I'm doing. Not sure you need to do this, but I'm calling the disable, and I'm just going to make this a bit maybe smaller, just like that. So it stops scrolling. So we are calling the exec disable. We can check what the disable does. And if I go, so disable, where is disable? There it goes. Okay, so disable interrupt processing. So basically we're calling a routine which is part of the kickstart, um, and which is in the kickstart and is under the exec library, um, to disable the interrupts. I mean, if you want to read all what it does or what it is exactly, um, you can read here. It's the description that you have on the Amiga documentation. So this makes sense. We are disabling all the interrupts of the Amiga. Then I must have done something wrong. This is, then I'm loading. Oh God, I'm seeing A1 instead of A6. Uh, okay, I'm loading the GFX, the graphics library, okay, that I want to open, which is this one, okay, graphics library into A1. And then I am calling old open library. This I should have done it. I should have done it probably after, but yeah, it will still work. uh, so probably this should be, I think this should be here. We will test it, but I think it should be there. um, so then we're calling old open library, which is, so that is minus 198. Yeah. As I said, I'm going to laugh at myself with some of the code that I wrote 35 years ago. So yeah. So basically I'm not sure if it's um, this existed in Kickstart 1.2. I had an Amiga with Kickstart 1.2. I think this was superseded by Open Library eventually. I don't know if anyone um, can um, can recall what I'm saying, or it was an A1000 it was the first library, the first open library that was available on the A1000, and then when the A1000 was upgraded with the um, when the A500 came out, or with Kickstart 1.2, it still had this, something like that. I cannot remember why I used old open library instead of open library. But yeah, so basically I'm disabling the interrupts and then I open the library. One other thing that I'm not doing is I'm doing checks. I should check if I actually open the library or not by having D0, I believe. If D0 has got something in it, I think it's an error. But yeah, I'm not super. It's still valid. Saves a few bytes. Ah, okay. Yeah, thanks, Henrik. Anyway, then I'm losing. Um, I'm loading. So, no, that should have been still where it is. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So basically, I opened the GFX library, I believe, there. So that's why that I did a move long, did 0 to FX base. This is so strange. I have written something similar recently, and I see that the way I wrote it now is completely different than what it is, than the way I used to write it back in the days. Holy crap. So here I'm loading D0 into the. I'm just going to check what I have on the Amiga. I hope I didn't press the delete and deleted something also at the same time. So yeah, into A1 and then so yeah, it's still correct. So here I disable the interrupts and then LEA GFX name into A1 and then I open the library. So yeah, I did delete a line. I was wondering. Uh, okay, so I should have LEA GFX name PC, A1. I thought there was something that didn't make sense. So that should be here. So I confused myself. I knew better back then. So that, and then we store the GFX base. So here we are loading. That's the right way of doing it. We are loading the library name that we want to open. So here we're specify library name that we want to open. And we specify that in A1 because that's what it expects. You can see here old open library, it has library name and then I have A1. That means I need to pass that parameter in A1. Okay. Okay, so then once we open the library, and we assume everything, I'm assuming that everything is fine. If that was at 0, the library would not have been open. So that is an issue. Then that means that I have the GFX base, okay, for the library. So we store what's in the 0 into the GFX base. Save GFX base, which is down below. Yeah, okay. So I'm saving that address into here. Now, I am moving in A6, okay? the GFX base, okay? Because each library has got a structure, which I will show you in a minute. So, and then we are going to get something from that structure. So just move GFX base into A6. I know I'm being, because I want to eventually share this code, I'm just documenting it for the sake of people that want to learn this, you know, to learn to do something on the Amiga. I mean, these are really simple sources. So yeah, so basically offset 26 from the GFX base, because there's a structure basically in the, it gives us the copy list, okay, where the copy list is of the OS. And we are storing that where it is. So if I go, and now I'm hoping I'm going to do this correct, given, so if I find the GFX library, I should find the GFX, so I need to go back actually, structure offsets, okay, and now I need to find graphics. Or GFX, yeah, GFX base, and now I'm saying 26. So okay, so there's a node there, there's a node structure which I need to go into a node structure, I assume, and try to get that. Hold on, no, 26, that is not 26 is here. There it is. It's 38. Sorry. For a moment, I was thinking in decimal. There it is. And that gives us the copper where it is, copying it. So basically, we are storing whatever there is in that structure for the GFX base, and making a note of it, because we are going to modify it. Okay. So here we are taking a note of the copper list used by the OS. Then I'm noticing things that I should have done better with the even in 68,000. I mean, in terms of code, but anyway, it's what it is. Then I'm moving, okay, my copper, okay, my copper list, okay, which I called new copper, okay, into DFF080, which is a custom chip register, which I will try to show you. So this one, this is DFF080. So 080, here it is, and it is the copper list, the coprocessor or copper list first location where our copper list is which is called COP1 LCH in terms of um, how they call the registers in the Amiga. And you notice that this is the high byte, and this is the high word, and this is the low word. So we're passing a long address, okay? We're passing a long address to DFF080. So basically, we are affecting DFF080 and DFF082, okay? I hope actually maybe you are not seeing this properly, so I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Yeah. So that you see I'm affecting these two here, and the custom registers are always a word, always 2 bytes, but here we need to pass a long address, and so it's okay to pass an address at DFF080, and that's what we are doing. We're passing the address. I didn't know that the Amiga in ASIM there's also the location of the custom register, so this must be something new that was added recently. This is quite cool actually. So it explains what the custom register does. Quite cool. So uh, move or yeah move our move copy list to custom chip register. Move copy list to instead of custom chip because it won't make sense to cop1 LCH. I think it makes more sense custom register. It makes more sense to be called like that. Custom, not customer. Okay, and then this is interesting. The copy list needs to be initialized. You can initialize by moving anything to DFF088. So here you can see the cop jump 1, copy restart at first location. So basically we are initializing our copy list. You always need to execute this once you set where your copy list is. So this is how now we start having to see our own copy list. So init copy list or display copy list, whatever. And I will put the register name cop jump 1. I'm not using an HD. I'm not streaming HD because of Facebook. It doesn't allow me to stream HD. It's so stupid that Facebook only accepts 720. This is my limitation. If I was just streaming on Twitch, it would have been in HD. So this is why also the screen is a bit small. Let's put it this way. Now we are. So now that our copy list is displayed, what you when I run the program, this is what you see. Now we are waiting to test for the left mouse button, basically. So here we test if left mouse button is pressed. If not, we loop, basically. Okay, so we come back here. Once it's done, we need to restore to the OS, to where we were. So we restore, okay, the copy list that we had from the OS that we store. So restore the OS copy list. And notice we just did the same as initializing our copy list by writing to DFF080 to the custom register DFF080. And then although we set the address, we did not really activated it. So then we need to write our jump. So activate, or init, let's put activate this time. Activate the OS copy list. And basically you return back to the same thing how the OS was, how things were on the OS. We have to do also, okay, so now we are loading again the exec base into A6. Load exec base into A6. And I'm going to see what minus 7e is. So that is here, and it is in the exec. So again, exec. Am I in the wrong? I need the offsets. Did I remove the offsets? No, here they are. Control F, exec. There you go. So now we need to find out what 70 is. So 70, okay. So we are enabling the interrupts. Okay, so that's what 70 does. So we are returning back, setting everything back as expected, as we left, because when we killed the interrupts, basically we killed the OS in a way, because we stopped all so the OS couldn't do any more multitasking, because the OS uses the interrupts to do tasking. Or let's say in a simple way, I'm explaining this so that I will not be fired at. But yeah, and then we are loading the GFX. We are loading the GFX base into A1. So because I believe, and I'm guessing here what we are doing, because I do not know what 198E is. I believe that is closing the library. Maybe I'm closing the library there, because I opened it and I never closed it. So sorry, I had a message on my phone which is related to my work, which I'm ignoring, of course. I need GFX base, GFX. But that is still exec. So yeah, so 19E, 19E. There you go. I guessed. Close library. So basically, I opened the graphics library, and of course, before I return back, I'm closing the library. So that's all it does. So it's quite a simple. In terms of code, there isn't much. It's very simple code that just displays a copy list. And then, as you can see, RTS. In fact, I think in future versions of this same code, because I'm seeing error, no library, so I do check if I open the library or not. Yeah, I'm not doing it here, but somewhere in the code I must have done that. So this is, I'm just going to, because as I said, I like things to be done properly, I'm just going to say what this is. I'm doing this for the sake of people that want to look at the code when I share it. This is our data, and can be anywhere, can be located anywhere. But this has to be, but this one needs to be in chip. This is the data copy list, and it needs to be in chip mem. In terms of actually here I'm setting also, so I'm not opening any screens or any bit planes, nothing. I just have just nothing on the Amiga. In terms of display, I'm just using the raster lines to display something, but I haven't opened a screen or anything. So the register, the famous register 100, which I'm going to show here, you know, BPL con 0, okay? We are setting it to 0 and we are only specifying, I think this is for compatibility issue, 2, sorry, not 102, 100. And I believe, yes, enable color burst output signal. So that's why I have 02000. So I did this, but I didn't do the section data. I can maybe stretch this so that you can see it properly. So bit number 9, which is 0200 hex. Okay, remember it's a 16-bit register, 16-bit word, and the register is bit 9. Enables color burst output signal. Just to have, I believe you need to set this. For example, I believe the 4000, I think, doesn't work without it. I mean, I really forgot why you have to have it, but it's one of those things that you need to set. And here we set BPL con 0 bit 9, and I can copy that just to remind me. I wouldn't be surprised that I didn't always do that in my code. Could be that I looked at it at a later date and I added that then. But yeah, now the code, I mean, I don't know. It's for the A1000. Thanks, Henrik. Yeah, you see, I knew there was a reason why you need it to enable it. I never had an A1000, so I do not know what's the effect of it. And I didn't actually. I really struggled back in the old days to find info. I mean, I did not have access to the Amiga books. I mean, I used to live in Malta, so finding the Amiga books there, it's a shop that will sell them, was impossible. Okay, you had to order them, and the only book that I had ordered was the Amiga Hardware Reference Manual, which I have. I think I have edition 2 I have edition 1. I have edition 1, edition 2, and now I got 3. So I have all editions of the Amiga hardware manual. But back then, because of their price, it was impossible for me to have them. It was a killer. So only through text files that you get on the floppy, some coder send you some text file with some explanation. That's how I really learned certain things or certain tricks. Um, not not because I had access to the books. Um, so yeah. So basically here we are saying we are waiting for line 64, okay, in the Y, okay. So first is the Y and then is the X, okay, um, and then once we arrive to that line, this is how you write a copy list, okay. So I'm going to explain it briefly. And then when we arrive at that line, you set, I'm setting color 0, okay, and I'm putting this color, which is sort of orange, I believe, FF. And here, visual code shows what color it is. Yeah, €50 was a lot back then for me. I tell you that. And to be honest, that was, if it was €50, I think for Maltese people that was 50 lira, because back then we had the lira, and 50 lira is about, and I'm going to say it in pounds because now I live in UK and I know how back then it's about 120 sterling. That's how much, because they used to convert what was pounds into lira so that they earn a lot of money. That's why it was impossible to buy the books. So now if you buy I think the manuals, the reference manual, they are about 100 pounds each, at least in UK, or a bit more. Um, and yeah, in Malta they were still already at that price. uh, but yes. So here I'm just going to comment here that we are waiting for people that, why it's not doing anyway, for some reason it doesn't want to align. Here we are waiting for raster line 64. Okay, so this is the Y, and X is always an odd number. Correct me if I'm wrong, Henrik, on this. So there's always 1, 3, something like that, if I remember correctly. And X. Actually, why just wait for line 64 and then set the color, and then set color 0 to F. Oh, that's all that it does. I think it's a very simple source. Of course, I'm going to look at how it evolved because I'm curious from this source how I evolved into making something more complex. I don't think there's the full code in this section, but definitely there is um, more code to it than what I actually need. Lucky you. Oh yes, I did have the the system programmer's guide, but there were two versions of it. I believe I had the old version, the one, because there was the Abacus one, and then there was another one which I forgot from who. Um, which were both of them were called System Programmer's Guide, but one had a different cover. It was like a Amiga mouse or something with lines on it, something like that. Ah, for compatible use 07. Oh God, so I should change these to 07. Uh-huh. You see, that's how much I know. Good, good tip, this one. So which computer, if you don't do 07, have issues? Is it, I believe, is it some one of them that has got AGA, or it's the Amigas, for example, the A600 that will suffer from compatibility if you do one instead of 7? Anyway, you can see what I did, and here Visual Code is quite good in displaying us what color this is. Um, Please note, I haven't actually said this, but I'm using the extension by Paul Rengerd. Okay, the Amiga assembly. Uh, I need to make it big now. Um, okay, the Amiga assembly support for Visual Studio Code Amiga assembly. So it's still beta. It's 0.20, but that's the one I'm using for um, coding. I'm not using this interface. This extension has got uses FSUAE, so you can actually do this code and run it and assemble it here and run it in FSUAE. But because my code, I know that some of my code is Sika and I need to convert it or change it. I do not know how well it will behave with Vesim, how good it will behave. So that's why I'm not using it, because I do not want to have issues of the assembler. I mean, it doesn't take long to compile it or to assemble it on the Amiga um, using the emulator, using Asim Pro. And the reason aha, I didn't know that. All machines will start color change on end of line, not start, if you use O7. That's interesting, but TV didn't show overscan, so nobody knew. Holy crap. What a nice. Wow, wow, Henrik, this is good information. Thank you. Wow, this is really cool. I had no idea, and yeah, TVs did not show that. I had a TV back then. I did not have a monitor. I was using my Amiga with the TV, actually with a TV. Only lately, I believe I got a monitor. I had access to a monitor when when I bought my A1200. So I had no idea. Yeah, starts the background change if user can show overscan. Uh-huh. Okay, cool. See these things, and it's funny, these things are not explained in the Amiga hardware reference manual neither. Um, it doesn't say it. Not even the latest edition say these things. So these are for me good tips of showing what. That's a good one. Smashed it. Yeah, it's monitors were expensive back then too, so I had to use a DTV, and I even had for a period of time I had a black and white TV also. To be honest, I was using the Amiga with the modulator, and you get composite out. I forgot how, but I was getting black and white um, f- um, with with the TV from the modulator. I forgot why that happened, but yeah. um, Thanks, DMX87, for for joining. As I said, if you like what you see, please follow me. This is the second one that I did of this series. The first one was more of an easy one. Let's put it this way. I didn't even show a copy list. I just show how to um, use the Amiga libraries. I mean, this is code that I did 30 years ago, and I'm trying to understand my own code um, that I did 30 years ago, basically. And I see that back then I only had an Amiga 500 and I only coded for the Amiga 500 and everybody had an Amiga 500. So I didn't bother about making the code compatible with, I don't know, a 600 or um, all the other models. Or I cared that it worked on the A500 with a 1 MB expansion. Yes, it can show. I mean, it can show you the information related to the. I mean, this is it's doing like what it does on the PC. Yes, I'm using ASIM Pro, which is an upgrade to ASIM 1, I believe, and Sika. That's what I used to use. I used Master Sika. These codes were written with Master Sika. So yeah, and then actually, I'm not using the extension uses Vasm to and FSUAE to assemble, but I'm using my code. So yeah, on the Amiga, so you can see it here. First, let's save it, okay, and then load it back again for those that joined now to the stream. So this is ASIM 1 or ASIM Pro, but it's an upgrade to ASIM 1 basically. I mean, somebody enhanced ASIM 1. I forgot which who did it, but I believe it's somebody that was part of a demo group or something like this. So I'm just going to load it again, okay? So this is what I just explained, and if I assemble it and run it, this is all it does. And I was explaining that that uh, this is code that I wrote for a bootloader, not bootloader, boot block. I mean, just something to happen in the boot block of the floppy drive when you insert a floppy drive where it displayed big text with the word Phaze101 on the screen. That's all it did. And I remember some effects with the copper. So it's just a test. It's just the initial test. And I'm sharing this because I want others to learn um, assembly, basically doing things on using the Amiga. Um, Besides ScoopX assembly tutorials on YouTube, there isn't I did not find. I mean, I don't know if there is anyone else that did something else, but I did not find anything related to Amiga programming. I'm talking videos, okay, because books there are, and you can go through the books. But nowadays, in the modern world, we look at videos now to learn. So this is why I'm doing this. That's the main thing of this stream. I'm just going to load another source. Actually, I noticed a minute ago. So let me see. I saw copper data. So here I must have an enhancement of that copper list. Yeah. Yeah, God knows what it is, but we can copy it and load it into that same code. So let's do that and see what it does, because it probably some copper bars, I assume, or something like that. So let's get our visual code and let's save this as another. Instead, let's call it O2. and let's get the data that I have. So let's open it. I can copy it. And copy it to here. I'm just going to leave the first line because I don't think it is there, and the last line, and copy what I've done here. Let's see what this copy list does once we assemble it. And now we can save it. Let's assemble it. Yeah, actually we need to load it first. So we need to load the new code. Okay, assemble it. There you go. Let's see what it does. There you go. Oh my God. Oh my God. It has 101 in it in copper. it I'm really seeing these after 35 years ago, my friend. So I'm laughing at myself. I did that uh, using just copper bars. Oh my God. That's all it is. Oh my God, this is what a memory this has brought to me. Honestly, this because I thought I lost most of my sources. Okay, um, I really lost most of my code, but recently I found some of the floppy disks, and I managed to recover. I mean, the floppies. There were 7 of them with my sources. The floppies gave so many errors, but using what's called flex. I mean, it makes an image of the floppy Kyroflex. Using that, I managed to make a copy of the disk and then managed to get the sources that actually I could get from those floppies. And these are some of the sources. I do not have, if I need to find the sources of a demo that I had, I will not be able to I do not have them. So all those that you find in Dimozo or Punet or whatever, I mean, I do not know how to pronounce them. Sorry, no offense to anyone. Um, those demos have been uploaded by somebody else. Um, I myself don't have the discs of those. I mean, of course, I download it now, those discs, but I know I had more besides those, and I do not have the code for them. Definitely none of them. And eventually, maybe one day I will decide to, disassemble them and get the code back because it would be nice to get the code back just for the sake because I do not have it. But yeah, I'm impressed by myself having this in front of me. I had forgotten that I did this, let alone. So that's another one that I did. Um, let's see what else I have on this directory. So open file. Let's see what this is. So I didn't check the code. I'm really doing this, and for the first time, I'm seeing the actual code after 35 years. So please bear with me. This one I see that it's definitely my code. There is only code either of mine or that of Crane, which he also did some demos. I mean, actually, I think most of the stuff is his that you find out, not mine. I mean, and even sources, I think I have more of his than mine. But this I can tell. I can tell which code is mine and which code is his. And there's a particular reason, because at that time, although was not, let's say, I didn't care much about how I wrote my code, but I was obsessed, let's put it this way, of doing this format of for the routines, with stars and writing the routine name. Also, I believe I'm using stars. I know that most of Semver supports star and comma, but I think Sika only supported star. They did not support comma back then. So I'm curious what this code does now. I'm seeing also that some of it is commented out. Oh, there is two copy lists. So maybe I'm jumping from one copy list to another. This is a test to demonstrate the use of the copy location registers and jump strobe addresses. Okay, let's try it out. I really don't know if it's going to work or not, and I don't know if it's going to crash also. Okay, so the worst thing that can happen is we get a guru. So let's read it. If it crashes, then I will try to fix it. Although I'm seeing others behind it, COP101, COP101 cycle, and COP101 test 2. Maybe these are all enhancements of the first code, so we'll check. But let's see what it does. It assembled. Oh, anyway, some type of copper bars, and why they are flickering, I do not know, but it's definitely doing something. Probably I'm not waiting at the right vertical blank. I wouldn't be surprised that it's flickering because of that, or something like that. I do not know. And the Amiga is not responsive. So yeah, basically it crashed. I need to reboot. Yeah, you cannot imagine. I mean, first of all, to find the disks and find the sources, that was already the big thing, okay? Very big thing. Um, more than one expected, because I um, I I thought I lost everything. Yes, way to leave Raster and computer to us could be, yes, because I'm using 68030 in emulate. I mean, I'm emulating the Amiga. Here, actually, my A600 is here. I'm touching it. I don't know. This is the space bar, if you can hear it. This is the space bar of the A600, but I do not have. I'm not able to stream from it. I need to get some type of grabber to stream to it, because it would be nice to stream from the A600. But anyway, so let's see what the others do, because maybe they are enhancements of the other one, and then I can try to assemble, how to say, assemble it and see what they do. So you can see, just to show you, these are all very old, are my old sources, okay, that I managed to recover, and I copied some of them to use on this Twitch stream. The reason why I copied some, not all, is because I noticed that in some of the scroll text, or let's say text, there are words that I should not be showing now on the screen. So I'm just checking the code. That's all I do. That's all I did. Um, Checking some of the code to make sure that there are no, offensive words, etc. Because at that time, if somebody annoyed me, I would say it in my code, basically. Funny enough. um, I'm not sure if you guys, whoever was a demo coder, I know that Henrik was, did things like this in your own code. But yeah, somebody that annoyed me. Even my teachers back then, if they annoyed me, they would be in the source code. uh, so yeah. uh, let's see. Oh, I need to go back to where I was. Data as in Phaze101 Twitch. So all I did after I got the sources I sorted them according to what I think they are, okay, or to what I think they belong, or to what I think I did. But I didn't go through the code. I just from the names basically, and then I opened them to check if there's any data that I shouldn't be showing. That is all. So for example, I know that I have. You see here, I have big scroll. This, I believe, is code that it wasn't done by me. I think this was done by Crane, and this shows the biggest, because at that time he was proud of it, saying the biggest scroll text. Basically, he's using the full screen on the Amiga, and it was on an A500. So for him, it was a big thing. I'm pretty sure others did it, but we didn't get to see what others were doing at that time. There wasn't the internet, so for us it was the first one and the biggest ever. So that's why he says that. But anyway, let's continue with my code, and in the future I will be showing that anyway. I will be going through that. What the others do, um, because I'm curious. So this looks, definitely I'm doing something here, moving things around. And I have a copper. So let's the usual thing. I need to, as I said, I didn't care at the time with an the section thing. Now missing section P101 code, comma code underscore P. So that one. No, this is not RemGem. This is code. Some of it is my code. Some of it is of another member of Phaze101. We just found the sources, some of our sources, and we are just going through them and use them. Let's say I'm trying to, because the book I know is going to take long to do. Okay, for those that do not want to wait, I'm using these sources also to, let's say, cover part of what the book talks about. But here I assume that you know a little bit of the Amiga programming, not nothing. And yeah, I'm just explaining, going through my own sources. Eventually, yes, I will be sharing these sources. Yeah, once I, fully comment them. I mean, I'm happy to share. These are sources that I did 30 years ago or 35 years ago, and yeah, why not? I'm happy if somebody learns from what I did 30 years ago. I'm happy. Um, it's um, it's one of those things that I do not know why. Okay, I mean, maybe some of you can explain it. For the Commodore 64, you find lots of things out there, but for the Amiga, not really. Not many share their code. Not. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. Okay, but I do not understand why. Um, or and I know that there are some forums where things are shared, but not to the extent that somebody can grab the source and go and do something. I haven't seen that, and this is what I'm offering in a way. I want to document my own code, and because these are tests, I'm not going. I do not have the actual code where I wrote the demo. I do not have that. I lost it basically. But these are tests code that I did when I'm starting to build a demo or something back then. So you will anyone can learn from them. It's just a piece of code that does something. It doesn't do like in a demo you have lots of things going on. It doesn't do they don't do that from what I can tell here. Maybe there will be like I don't know, a screen, load a picture, and do something like a script. But I didn't see any code of a full demo in the disks that I managed to recover. Um, no, I was so yeah. I'm happy to share them. It's okay. And this videos will be available on Twitch. Um, So yeah, eventually, I mean, some time will pass. It's not going to be tomorrow because they take really time to edit them. But yeah, um, it is one of those things that I'm happy to share. And yeah, actually, I will be quite honored if somebody learns from my own sources, which I think um, um, I do not know where your stuff is, Oziboshi. For me, I I haven't seen. Um, I'm not saying nobody shares and nobody. I'm not saying that. Okay, so I don't want to be misunderstood because there's lots of people in the Amiga community that are very helpful. Okay, but but if I compare the Commodore 64 with the Amiga, the Commodore 64 has got so much compared to. I'm going to check your link actually. Maybe I think I am. Uh, Actually, I think I am in your, yeah, yeah, I am. Uh, I'm going to follow you now. um, but yeah, thank you for your link. So I'm not saying that there aren't people that share things but in compared to the Commodore 64, in terms of code and code available, if I want to learn interrupts for the Commodore 64, there are so many sources out there that you can look at. But if I want to learn something related to the Amiga, you will find. I'm not saying there isn't, but not to that extent. So yeah, it is that is what. Oh, I didn't know, Henrik. If you have links to that, I would be happy to share. Of course, I am. There are the discs of Fabio Ciucci, the Italian of the Italian book, and there's lots of sources there, which I am doing a stream about. Fabio gave me the permission to stream his book, and the sources of the book are excellent. Seriously, if it's a shame in a way that the book was written in Italian, but yeah, and hopefully maybe one day it will be converted into English. To be honest, I'm trying to convert it in English, but it's taking too much time, too much of my time to do that. Um, well, look, I think the bot, if you send too many messages, it will be deleted. You have to wait 10 seconds. It's the same like if you are on Shalan's channel, um, something like that. Either delete it or it stops you from sending the message. Um, yeah, it could be that the C64 was the biggest selling computer, and that's why there is more. Um, it's not. Yeah, it's the book of Remjam is really good. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Alessio. Definitely, I think the best book that I've seen. I've read it, and that's why now I'm streaming it. I've read it, and that's the best book. I wish I had that when I was back a demo coder back then. Um, s- um, in relation to that. because I think there would be a lot more. I mean, pretty sure that it would have contributed a lot. That book has contributed a lot to the Amiga demo scene because of the way it is written. Um, I I am into disassembly, but for my own sources. I'm not I'm not interested in disassembling other things because I want to disassemble my own sources because I lost my code basically. So yeah, not sources, my own code that people uploaded and I have lost and I do not have anymore. So yeah, so I use resource. If I need to, I will use resource to disassemble anything. Um, I think I don't think there's a better tool than resource on the Amiga, although you can use something like Action Replay, things like that, um, because it depends what you are doing. Yeah, there is I think resource version 6 now. Well, yeah, of course, if I can, but it's disassembling takes a lot of time. It's already a lot of time to disassemble my own code. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll log in and check. Thanks, Henrik. Anyway, let's do this section here and see what um, what this code will do, because it might surprise me or laugh, or I might laugh at myself. uh, this is data underscore C. So update is to save, okay, to save this assemble A to assemble J is to run. Oh God. So it's an update of the same copy list that we saw there. And I'm doing something with, I don't know, it definitely it's not complete, but I'm cycling the the code and I can see that there's a copper bar on top, which probably it will cycle or something like that. So here, I mean, I do not have the mouse, but the top line, the white, the blue, and the white, I think that's a copper bar that will be going in front of the 101. I think if I remember correctly, the demo. No, yeah, that's very funny seeing my own code and doing that. Oh my God. Uh, yeah, to be honest, the play music routine, Scoopex, Photon or Scoopex, okay? He has if I want to use the play routine, I will use what uh, um, Photon explained in his videos. And the reason why is when the book was written, he is using an old play routine, okay? And it was superseded basically. And I would not be doing uh, if I want to use, a Soundtracker 2.63 or the later ones. You need to use that routine. You cannot use it. The play routine that he uses is for an older version of the Soundtracker. So it's the only chapter. I believe it's chapter 14. It's the only chapter which I um, I read, but I will not. When I'm doing the book, I will have to think how I'm going to go through that because it's not um, something that I recommend using the play routine that he mentions. I mean, the play routine he's talking about there was only it could only do one thing at that time, the play routine, and then it was modified to do with the CIA, with the vertical blink, and I forgot what was the other one. But yeah, yeah, it's not the P96, the P61, P61 uh, play routine. That's the one, and it's the latest version. And I believe the latest one is of Photon. I I don't think there's an updated version of that. Um, Henrik, I don't know if you can correct me on that. I believe yours is the latest one. I haven't seen personally any updates to that one. So we can try to understand what this code does. And I believe the first part is same as I did before. Yeah. So this part, um, I'm not seeing, I'm using 32. I'm using, this is another way of doing it, but yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to, I already commented this in in today's video, in the earlier one. I will comment it later on, so that I will have this version commented, fully commented. But what we are interested is this part, because the rest is the same. So what I'm doing here, and I'm initializing the 0 and the 1 for sure. Unless you are an expert, you should avoid self-modifying code on the Amiga. I agree on that, Henrik. And you don't need it to play music and load from disk at the same time. Amiga hardware takes care of that. Yeah, I agree. I do not like self-modifying code on the Amiga, but I think when the book was written, and because of what they were doing at the time, one of the tricks that they were using was the self-modifying code. That's why the P61 is the latest one, and your version, Henrik, I think is the latest one. I haven't seen later additions to that one. Um, yeah. Mm. Yeah, the PHX ProTracker player for Pro. Yeah, there's that one. But in terms of P61, there wasn't an update to it in terms of that, because the book that Ozzy is referring to refers to an older version of the P61, which eventually it evolved into the P61. So I believe there aren't any updates. So yeah, when I'm doing the book, that's one of the chapters that I will have to modify. um, yeah, the HX. So in it, did 0 and in it. D3. I wonder what I'm trying to do here. So I'm loading A7 into D2. Okay. So what is D2 doing? And then I'm loading pen into A2. So pen, what is pen? Yes, it's just a compressor of ProTracker. You can use P6107 to, yeah. So P6112, I think, is the latest version of it. There wasn't P6113 or something like that. That's what I was asking. I believe the P112 is the last one. So pen, I wonder what pen is. Oops, where is pen specified? Interesting. So I'm loading immediate pen, but I do not see pen. Actually, let's use the, I'm editing again on the emulator. I shouldn't. Let's use the visual code. Yeah, the format, the book was written during that era, I think. The P6, so he uses a not, I don't want to say other version because I might be wrong. But it's different than the one, because I did a compare. It's different than the one that you enhanced, Henrik. Um, it must be something that then became the P61. Could it be? I mean, I might be wrong here, because the book was written initially in 93, 94. So it could be that the P61 was not yet the, let's say, the acceptable format or the right one at that time. Um, I mean, I don't know, but I have big question marks about it in terms of that chapter. So let's load that one. And it is, which one we were editing? I forgot the name now. In the assembler. So we are editing COP101S. Okay. So COP101S, that's the one that we need to load. So where is pen? Let me close here. There you go. So for some reason, I'm specifying at this line 6B, I am taking note of it. So this is moving. Okay, so was really, okay, so the routine is basically moving the lines, I think, starting from the bottom and copying the one on top of it to the bottom. That's what I think it is doing. So yeah, we're moving the address of pen into A2, and then so basically we are that 16 comma A2 so bracket A2, so 16 from pen. So 16 is here. So we are moving this into this, I believe. That's why we see that effect. And probably we continue doing that across the whole copper bar. That's what I'm assuming. Oh. So yeah, we are copying what's in A2 into D1, and then what's in A2 go, yeah, so we are making a copy of it, then we copy what's in A2 into 16. Okay, so we copied the value here, we store it, and then we are copying to this one. okay, to the same value. So we stored it, and then we are overwriting it with what was at pen, and then we subtract 16. Yeah, that's what we are doing. So basically, yeah. If I go to the Amiga and assemble it again, so yeah, I'm moving the copper bar from top to bottom, okay, and I'm over, so starting from the bottom and copying up. Of course, I'm not making, so this is the part that is missing. I'm not making what's exiting from the bottom is not coming to the top. So this is, as I said, this is just the initial. Good night, DMX87, uh, and thanks for joining the stream. Thanks, Henrik. Um, okay, so final version was P6104. I doubt he's using P6104. I doubt. Um, it is. I will have to check in the sources eventually, but well, I doubt it is P6104. I forgot. I forgot what he's using exactly. But yeah. So all it does, not to, because this stream is already is nearly 2 hours, and my aim was not to do 2 hours, but 1 hour and a half. But anyway, I liked so much seeing my sources and laughing at my own code or at my own sources that it was fun, I have to say. But this is basically that's what it is doing, and I will document it basically. Probably there's somewhere else, so not to waste time in documenting it here and then finding another source somewhere else where there's a better version of the same routine. I will see what there is and come up and then basically in the next stream probably document that instead of document something that there's a better version of it. Um, but yeah, there must be, so if I'm assuming, okay, that in the end, my code, what it does is, so I'm moving this copper just to create an effect or something like that. I don't know what I did, what's in the middle where I'm using the copper, or I just didn't do anything. I don't know if I put something there or not. And then I see this copper bar here, which is on top of this one, okay, on top of the blue one where I have the 101, which will go up and down. So I do remember the demo um, that I am just using copper to create this effect and nothing else. So it's just pure copper. Um, to actually display something, to just display 101 on the screen um, and have an effect to it. That's basically it. Thank you all for following. I'm very grateful for being with me on the stream. If you like what you see, please follow me on Twitch. I know that some of you are on Facebook, and as I always say, Facebook is limiting me to stream only 720. I cannot stream HD, and is limiting me in sharing things with you in terms of links, etc. So all these are done on Twitch. That's why I noticed that many people that use Twitch don't actually share on Facebook because of these limitations that Facebook has. But yeah, so thank you very much. I will try to rate someone now. Let's see who there is. And let's see. I don't even know where the button for the raid is because I haven't done many raids. um, where is the button to raid? That's funny. Oh, well, if not, I'm going to end it like this. I just cannot see the raid button. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll end up with instead with what I had when I started. So ciao, have a good evening or good night, and see you in the next stream, which will be on Friday next week for episode number 3 of this one.